Welcome to the Delivery Manager Daily. This is another kind of pre-episode episode. I just want to talk to you a little bit about me, my background, history, the things I've done. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see a few slides that I've done for one of the companies that I work for, BJSS. This podcast is not in relation to anything that I do for BJSS, and all my views are my own, but I thought I'd repurpose one of the slide decks that I've done in the past that kind of introduce who I am. So a little bit about me. Born in 1980, I think that was a really important time for computers and technology because there were a number of milestones in technology advancement that I was able to hands-on witness, such as the internet, and when the internet used to look like teletext, if you remember that, and using an acoustic coupler to connect to the internet. And then several £100s worth of phone bills later, I was in trouble with my parents. But there's some, if you're watching on YouTube, some pictures of me there as a kid. But I was really fortunate to get into computers at a real early age. My stepdad bought me initially an Atari 2600 and then some of the really obscure kind of Chinese electrical kind of devices that you'd plug into your TV and play games like Pong and tennis, and they'd have really weird rotary dial controls on curly cable, and they were just bizarre but great fun. And then I got a Commodore 64 and started learning BASIC and 6502 assembly. So I started getting into programming, and then again fortunate to rise up the ranks to some 16 and 32-bit computers. I think I had an Acorn A3010, the Lemmings pack, and started playing around with operating systems and a bit more kind of basic and bit of Turbo Pascal at college. I think, again, like I said, 1980s was a really good time for technology to kind of go through some of the eras. And I then progressed on to like what we had at school, so the BBC Micros, and then more Archimedes, and then I remember going into the library and playing around on a 386 SX25 PC in DOS and typing Windows at the DOS prompt for the first time, and just being blown away at getting a full kind of GUI Windows 3.11 operating system, and in Carter and all that kind of stuff, and then at home playing consoles like the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo and things. But going back to that era, I always knew I wanted to get into computers, so I had that kind of 8-bit pedigree, and then got onto kind of 8.6 PC architecture. I witnessed the internet as it was at the time, sort of being a thing of kind of law, really, that I read about in magazines. Then finally were able to access it and I don't think at school actually, but use connecting to the internet with an acoustic coupler and then a US robotics modem on about 9600 board, and using sites like Webcrawler and Dogpile and to try to find your way around the internet. And I remember feeling really overwhelmed as well, because how do you navigate all this stuff, but really sort of got down into trying to build websites and kind of present content online. Dabbled a little bit in software development, then a lot of PC building, like a lot of sort of tech folk did back in the 90s, sort of ripping, CDs and building computers and learning along the way. And that really kind of set the tone for how I wanted my career to go. It was certainly something to do with technology. I didn't really know at the time I'd end up doing what I'm doing, which I'm really happy and fortunate and privileged that I do what I do. So I really enjoy it. I've had a few jobs. I remember my first Saturday job was in a gun shop, and learnt about sort of air weapons, and then they also did electronics, so putting car stereos in and repairing TVs and videos and hi-fis, and that got me into CB radio and electronics a little bit more, and I kind of carry on that maker attitude today. I don't get a lot of time to build stuff, but I'm always playing around with Raspberry Pis and bits of electronics. I'd really like to get into model rockets, but I just don't have time. Said about building PCs, which I used to do for quite a long time, and I still really enjoy. I'm about to build another gaming PC, and then the other kind of business that I do on the side, as well as consultancy, is I build websites and little software apps for people that don't have maybe a lot of money to spend, or want something fairly cheap and cheerful, and I hopefully do a really good job with platforms such as WordPress and Squarespace and Shopify and help people out. I've helped a lot of people out during the pandemic as well, which I've really enjoyed. But yeah, quite a few other hobbies. So I write and talk on my blog. I do a lot of mountain biking and cooking. So if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, Home Cook Wonder, you'll see all the stuff I do on the barbecue, and try and play the piano and guitar as well. But this podcast came about because just frustrated at the lack of kind of plain English content around delivery sort of management. And I do a lot of coaching and mentoring at the company that I work for. And this is a good opportunity to kind of carry on that conversation. And I know that there's all kinds of people talking about this kind of stuff, but this is kind of my slant, my angle, and wanting to go through some of the mistakes I've made as well. You know, for anyone listening, I'm under no illusion that, you know, for a few years I was not as good as I could be, and you know, I've learned a lot over time, and I really want to share those learnings. So that's a little bit about me, and I hope you've enjoyed getting to know a little bit about Mario. But join me in the next episode for the Delivery Manager Daily, and we're going to start drilling into some content, and look forward to talking again with you very soon.